What is the absolute minimum that I can carry in order to travel the world as light as possible? That is the question I've been asking myself ever since I started traveling. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maher, and over the past few years, I've been traveling all over the world, and I've been making workshops with Sony and B&H, and I've been doing client video shoots, taking photos, and just exploring as much as I can possibly can. In this video, I'm going to show you what I've narrowed my equipment down to in order to travel as light as possible and also continue to be able to make money with my camera. If I'm being completely honest, the only reason I started trying to make money with my camera was because I just wanted to travel more. I started traveling and backpacking around 2019 and I just got hooked and I want to do more of it. I like to think of myself as a minimalist, but I think after this video, a few people are gonna question that. So I'm just gonna call myself an essentialist. When I started traveling, I was just taking one backpack and that was all I had. But as my equipment got heavier and kind of more, and I got more demanding clients, I found that the combo of having a personal item, aka a backpack, and just a carry-on is the perfect combo for now. For the carry-on, I'm right now using the Hegent series from level 8. It's a 20-inch carry-on and it's a zipperless design. It's a little bit heavy, but I actually prefer that over the lighter, flimsy ones because I'm putting a lot of expensive glass and equipment in the carry-on. So I don't mind the extra weight. Plus, I'm usually having a very, very heavy carry-on anyway, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. And I love the zipperless design because I sometimes take the carry-on with me into sets, into Fashion Week or whatever I'm doing, and being able to quickly access that backpack and change lenses or do whatever I need to do, it just makes it so much more worth it, and it looks a lot more professional than trying to open a zipper carry-on on set. Now, full disclosure, level 8 did send me this carry-on for review, but I was looking for a zipperless design even before they reached out, and it worked out perfectly. I'll leave a discount code in the description. For my main camera, the one I'm filming on right now, is the Sony a7 IV. This is a perfect camera for photography and for filmmaking. It's a hybrid camera. It's made for both, and it works out perfectly for everything I needed to do and more. It's a 33 megapixel sensor, so it's a sweet spot between not having insane file sizes and also being able to crop in if I need to. Plus, I can use it for live feeds for my workshops and for meetings, which is a huge bonus. Lenses. This varies by trip, but my go-to that I can always depend on is my 24-70 G Master Mark II. It's a 2.8 aperture, so it's sharp enough, it lets in enough light, and it's just versatile and it works perfectly for video and for photos. I've done entire trips just using this one lens. Okay, now for my prime lenses, this is where I might get questioned for my minimalism. I have 3 prime lenses with me at the moment as I'm traveling. I have the 85mm 1.4 Sigma, and I have the 35mm 1.4 G Master, and this is a weird one, anamorphic Samyang Nikon lens that is 14mm, and I have an adapter that goes with it, and I'm actually filming on it right now. It's a very odd lens, and it's not usually used for a lot of things, but I got it with me for a specific client that wanted this wide angle look, and I'm actually using it right now and I'm experimenting with it, and I kind of like it, and it works really well for real estate or if I'm showing off like a hotel or Airbnb or something like that. The 35mm, I know this one is questionable considering I have the 24-70. Why would I need the 35? For photography, it's honestly not that big of a difference, but for filmmaking, that's where it comes in really handy, especially as I'm not using lights a lot of the times or artificial lights when I'm doing the interviews or filmmaking in general. Having a 1.4 35mm is just something I can rely on almost all the time, and I can make it work in almost any light. I've done entire video projects just using this one lens, and it gives you this nice creamy blurry background. The 85mm, that one for photography is just an absolute, it just works wonders in any type of event, especially if it's an event where I'm trying to get candid moments, because it separates the subject perfectly, and I've talked a little bit about it in other videos. And also if you can see with your eyes, it pretty much can work anywhere. Okay, for my favorite camera, the one I have with me, I would use if I only can choose one camera, I'll tell you about it at the very end of this video. If you know me and if you've watched any of my videos, you probably know which one it is already. Okay, accessories. Accessories for me are mostly something that is for video. Video just needs a lot of accessories. But recently, I started really appreciating some photography accessories. And one of those is the lemur strap. This is an absolutely game changer strap. I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. I liked the idea and I reached out and I wanted to kind of check it out and work with them. And after I tried it, it's just absolute game changer. Having the camera be out of the way when I'm moving around, whether I'm in a mountain or a city or whatever I'm doing, or even a fashion event. I used to pretty much always have to have a backpack with me in order to have a camera because I didn't want to have my camera just flinging around. But using this lemur strap has absolutely changed that. This is actually a prototype version I have, but they just opened up pre-orders and I think they started shipping out too. So if you're fed up with your strap, check them out as well. Before I was using that one, I was using the Peak Design strap. I'm not saying the Peak Design is horrible. I used it for a long time and I still use it occasionally with my other favorite camera. And I still have and travel with the tripod, the carbon fiber one. I got that one when I was only using one backpack. So every ounce made a huge difference. I also use the capture clip, which is very convenient when I'm doing photo shoots or if I'm on a mountain or whatever. I even have the phone case from Peak Design and I have the clip that goes on it, the magnetic quick release clip that goes on it. So I do have a lot of Peak Design equipment, but when it comes to strap, the lemur strap is just much better. I also have the Lume Cube tripod, which is very portable, thin, and I can actually use it with my phone with the Peak Design tripod adapter and be able to record quick vertical videos. And I can also use it with my favorite camera. For lighting, I'm using the Lume Cube RGB light, and I also have a 5-in-1 reflector. That comes in handy, especially as I'm trying to control as much light as possible and when I'm using natural light. For audio, I have the NTG5 mic, which I'm using right now. I also have a shotgun mic. I'm going to switch to it right now. It's the Sony B1M. The naming is ridiculous, but it works well and it doesn't need any connections and it's good for like run and gun type of stuff. Usually I would record this entire video on it, especially as I'm using the 14mm because I'm so close to it. But I wanted to show you guys how this sounds also compared to this and compared to the last thing I have with me for audio, which is the Saramonic Ultra wireless microphones. They also record in 32-bit float. And I'm also using the Zoom FX, the Zoom F3. I forget all these names. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people out there who are gonna destroy me for not knowing this blasphemy. I know. I'm using the Zoom interface to be able to record audio from this microphone, and also it's really good for like live videos and workshops and all that stuff. And here is how the Saramonic Ultra sounds. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Saramonic Ultra microphone. It's just said it's connected to my phone. I also have like this little adapter thingy because I'm recording the audio on my phone. I'm gonna sync it afterwards. I like to use this microphone. This is pretty much the go-to microphone if I'm trying to record anything, if I'm trying to do something for social media. I can have it hang out here. And I used to use the DJI microphone 1 before that, and it was nice. And then I got the DJI mic 2 and compared it to this one, and this one just sounds so much better. I hate how the difference is clear when it comes to sound. I wish the DJI mic was sounding better, but this just sounds better. And also it has this antenna that makes the interference not as bad. Anyway, that's it for audio. Okay, we're almost done. Just a few more things. And if you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. I'm happy to dive deeper and explain more about how I use anything and why I use it. Okay, for video gear, a lot of this stuff is purchases that I wasn't excited for, but I knew I had to do. Here are some of these things. I have the small rig cage for the Sony A7 IV. I have the side handle the wooden one because I wanted to try to be excited about it, and I do like how the wood looks. I also have the top handle in order to be able to do more smooth shots. And then I have the little adapter that allows me to put a monitor, and I have the Ninja 5 Plus from Atomos. I also have the Peter McKinnon variable ND filter that has a little bit of pro mist. I don't like my footage to be too sharp, so I like the little bit of softening that comes from this ND filter. And I do like the magnetic variable ND part because I can make sure the footage is consistent in case the ND filter moves or anything like that. That was one of those purchases that hurt a lot because it's not something that is that exciting, but it gets the job done and it allows me to be able to pull off whatever I need to pull off. Also have the Tiffin? Is it called Tiffin? Is it Tifton? I have the Tiffin Pro Mist filter 1/4. I like to have that on my 85mm because again, it's too sharp, and I do like the diffused, bloomy, dreamy feel. That's kind of what I like to do. And I also have a 4TB hard drive that goes into the Ninja Atomos 5 Plus. And I have a pair of newer, is it, how do you say it? Is it newer? No, the brand, the one that makes batteries and stuff. The newer batteries, the newer TPF 970. I found these to be nice because they have a USB-C input and output, so I can charge them with USB-C, and I can also use them as an external like power bank. Whenever I can, I try to find things that serve multi-purposes. So having a battery pack that powers the monitor, and again, I'm not always using this monitor. I'll probably only use it for client work, or if I'm maybe recording a video like this, I'm using it to kind of make sure I got the focus on the right place because I am using a manual focus lens. Okay, now that pretty much concludes everything in my carry-on. Now for my backpack, that's pretty much where I have my remote editing setup. And it's perfect this way because that's usually what I have in my backpack whenever I go to a coffee shop in a random place to do some editing or a working space. Okay, for the remote editing setup, I use the MacBook Pro, the one with the M1 chip. I think I have about 1 terabyte in there, and it does the job. I also use the iPad Pro 13-inch, the one that just came out, as a reference monitor and also as my second monitor. It's an excellent reference monitor. It scores better than some of the, I believe, 6-figure monitors that are out there. But if I'm being honest, the main reason I actually got it is because the Apple Pencil has barrel rotation. And we're not going to talk about this. Since I don't have a consistent setup and I also work a lot on my laptop and I do a lot of editing on my laptop, I make sure to make it as ergonomic as possible and as comfortable as possible to avoid long-term injuries. And for that, I use the Rooster foldable stand, obviously foldable because it's more portable, and it's adjustable, so depending on the random surface that I happen to work on, I can move it up in order to be closer to eye level. I also have this generic iPad stand also in order to pop up the tablet and use it as a second monitor. And again, here's a device that makes it very questionable whether I'm a minimalist or not. And this is the Blackmagic DaVinci Speed Editor. This thing, I have such a love-hate relationship with this thing because on one hand, it makes editing so much easier, so much smoother. Just having this wheel makes me power through culling, which is the stage that takes the most time whenever I'm editing. So it saves me so much time just being able to have this much control over my timeline. However, this thing basically only works inside DaVinci Resolve, but not only that, it only works inside the edit tab. It's really annoying that it only works in there, but it does an excellent job. I recently started to take it with me just because it saves me so much time. It is one of those things that if I completely run out of space, I would be sacrificing first, just because I can technically get the job done, but it just won't be nearly as nice. Paired with that, I actually have the Tourbox, which is another editing device. Now, contrary to the speed editor, this one can be customized to do anything in any software and any platform. It's beautiful. I use it mostly to do photography. I can do a deeper dive in how I use this. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But I find this to just speed up the workflow incredibly. It's made to be used with the left hand, so I use it actually with the speed editor, and I use both to make my process as fast as possible. Honestly, it just makes it more fun. If I'm having more fun, the editing becomes just less daunting, just more enjoyable, and I get to do more of it. So I try to treat myself, and it saves so much time. And this time adds up. And when I'm traveling, I want to minimize the time I'm actually working / editing and increase the time that I'm exploring and meeting people and doing things. So if I can make the process quicker and make it more enjoyable for myself, then I try my best to find any possible way to do that. For the mouse, I'm using the MX3 mouse from is it from Logitech? They're called Logi and Logitech. For the mouse, I'm using the Logitech MX3 mouse. It just works, and the battery lasts forever. All the cool kids on YouTube use it these days. And paired with the mouse, this one thing, whenever I'm not using it, it feels like I'm naked. It feels like I'm rubbing my bones on concrete. This is the Delta Hub Caprio 2.0. I've gotten one for my dad. I got one for my best friend and for my studio here working with me. And I absolutely love this thing. It's weird to use at first, but once you get used to it, you will not stop using it. You will feel odd not using it. And it's one of those things that, again, I'm like, how am I having to go everywhere with this thing? Again, you got to take care of your health. You got to take care of your bones. And if I'm working a lot, I want to make sure it's least damaging to my body as much as possible. A few more things. I have the Anker 140 watt charger block. And again, this is useful because I can use it to charge my laptop. I can use it to charge almost all my devices. It has 2 USB-C ports and a USB-A port. And I also have my handy dandy 32 ounce water bottle. This thing is so important, especially when I'm on set, especially when I'm traveling and I don't know when I'll get my next sip of water. It's so important to stay hydrated in order to function at your best. I think the 32 ounce for me just hits a sweet spot because whenever I have this thing with me, I feel safe. I have enough water to stay hydrated probably for an entire day. And it's just, you need water. We're made of water. So we need water. Be water, my friend. You put water into a cup, you become the cup. Okay, last but not least, my absolute favorite camera, my go-to camera. I'm trying to replace pretty much everything I mentioned in this video just with this one camera. And that, my friends, is the Sony RX100 Mark VII. I've done a series with Sony and B&H about this camera, why I love it so much. I've also done a few videos, and I actually took it to Iceland to test it out and show you what it can do. You can check that out right here. And I also have this underwater housing from Saltline, and I'm about to take it under the ocean at the Red Sea in Egypt. If you're curious about that, then make sure you stay tuned and stay subscribed. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. The water bottle, for my water bottle, this is such a weird word. Is there another way we can say water bottle? For my water bottle, for my bottle of water, for my bottle of water. I had too much caffeine, I think.